In this segment, I'm going to be giving a summary, or I'm going to be preparing our Jesuit cosmos or Christian cosmos for rapture, since we are already 23 years into the last millennium of 7 millenniums or 7 weeks, according to the prophets of Daniel. So in Zim context of atonement, I'm going to be submitting Johane Masowe Prophetic Atonement Special Purpose Vehicle comprising of prophets. Our first is Gabriel. Gabriel is responsible of angelic counsel and leadership of Judeo-incarnates for traditional religion in Zimbabwe. So is the leader of our angelic beings, responsible of configuration, transfiguration, and transformation of Old Testament to New Testament through a process of renunciation. Renouncing Old Testament for New Testament parameters. Second is Elijah. Elijah is our religious arbitrator of Abrahamic priesthood, putting Ishmael and Isaac into perspective with Mzimu Unoera by incarnation for religious reconciliation. And number 3 is Elijah. Elijah is just like Elijah. We've already explained the difference between Elijah and Elijah. Elijah normally is responsible of earthly fortresses, whereas Elijah is Elijah will then be responsible of marine. So Elijah for marine is Elijah for our geopolitical diversity is Elijah. So number 3 is Elijah. Elijah is our Johanic priesthood arbitrator for Old Testament Mosaic practice and the New Testament Messianic practice, putting both the Jesuits and Johanic societies into perspective with Mzimu Unoera by incarnation in Zimbabwe. Number 4 is Isaiah. Isaiah is a prophet of kingship priesthood upon Zion. Number 5 is Jeremiah, a Benjamite priesthood prophet in Jerusalem. Number 6 is Daniel, our Johanic prophet of end times in the same context of traditional religion in Zimbabwe. Number 7 is Ezekiel. Ezekiel is a Shemitic prophet of end times. So is our Jesuit or our Shemitic prophet responsible for end times, tracing Jews. Number 8 is Hosea. Hosea is our seductive prophet of Christian cosmos or Jesuit cosmos in same context. Number 9 is Miriam, our Mosaic matriarch for marine conviction. We need Miriam for marine conviction. Number 10 is Mary Magdalene, also a matriarch. She is a messianic matriarch for a marine conviction again. Number 11 is St. Teresa, our Jesuit Shekinah mother in Zim context of Masowe. Number 12 is Mother Sarah, our Abrahamic Shekinah mother in Zim context of Masowe again. Then Africa is our mother of continents, is also earmarked here. So Africa is our universal Shekinah mother of our motherhood dynamics in all continents, that is in same context of end times. As already alluded to, in the same context of Johane Masowe, our Johanic priesthood configuration of Old Testament Mosaic parameters was done by Prophet Elijah as a Johanic priesthood incarnate using St. John, the son of Zebedee and Elizabeth, through a process which was done by incarnation, followed by Mosaic transfiguration with Elijah and Masowe as the arbitrator between Moses and Emmanuel of Old Testament and New Testament principalities respectively, After transfiguration with Emmanuel now as our New Testament dispensation principle in Zimbabwe, we then had Johanic ratification and revelation of end times with Daniel as our Johanic incarnate John, son of Zebedee at Potmas. In Zim context of St. John and Elijah and Johane and Daniel narratives for Masowe, opening and closing narratives, we stand to inform that Elijah in St. John arbitrates for New Testament and Daniel in Johane, the son of Zebedee and Boniges arbitrates for Jesuits in our Christian cosmos, prophesying on the 7th week and last Judeo week of humanitarian period on earth. Remember, we have 7 Judeo weeks of 1,000 years, earmarked for Adamic form of humanity before celestial transformation by rapture upon second coming, with first coming done after 4 Judeo weeks of Adamic creation by our divine commands sender. As Daniel concludes Johanic Judeo weeks with a breakdown of the 7th week of 1,000 years in our last millennium, after 4 Judeo weeks of first coming and 2 weeks of 100 years for church age, it is imperative that we open up our mind and eyes to see end-time prophecy being fulfilled. In the same context of Pan-African gospel of our traditional religion, we already highlighted the prophecy of colonialism as clay for Zimbabwe, Shekinah motherhood, and iron for British Empire, and must then consider a cardinal reconciliation of this prophetic existence in line with the structure of colonial power dreamt by Nebuchadnezzar in Daniel. And we already discussed this, indicating that the 10 last kingdoms of clay and iron mixture depicted on the said structure, fingers on its feet, suffices at this juncture. Zimbabwe and Britain must reconcile their politics as England and Mashonaland reconcile their Shekinah motherhood traditional religion before our Shekinah priesthood of humanitarian atonement in line with the Abrahamic order of Jesuit merit. So we are now proclaiming rapture to Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe must know that Johane Masowe sessions were no fluke. So we started our sessions with one St. John as a liar incarnate, and we did our Old Testament configurations, transfigurations, and transformation, both giving way to New Testament dispensation is realized around 2017. So we have got so many events to follow, but events that already took place must be put into perspective and understood. We had a 2017 cardinal event to the effect of constitutional implosion when our own systems inspired the public to challenge alien status quo. Since we are now preparing our state for statehood rapture, we needed to embark into that exercise. So 2017, we had our leadership anointed by Enoch. I'm talking of the Maziwa Gora event. After that, we had a cardinal or constitutional implosion to the effect of challenging alien status quo, and our New Testament dispensation was born out of that event. We are now faced with the 2024 cardinal implosion, where upon the grace of Dr. Samero is going to be seeing off followed by 2031 event. We already discussed about these cardinal events to come, and the cardinal event of 2017, which gave birth to New Testament dispensation. So New Testament dispensation has a sequence of raptures. I already said about them. So we have got 2024 left, 2031, 2040, 2056, 2059 cardinal events of rapture. Rapture is a process. We start with the statehood rapture and ends with the individual rapture of Christians into the body of Christ. But first we start with the statehood rapture into the state of into Jesuit state of Israel before the state of Israel with us incorporated a rapture into the kingdom of Zion, upon which the second coming of the Prince of Peace is going to suffice. I thank you, to be continued when and if necessary.